Stage 4 of the project is the thesis. And the goal today is I can develop a working thesis that outlines the goal of my active research project, your ISU. Okay, what is the thesis? The thesis is going to be the most important 75 to 150 words. And again, I'm not going to sit there counting. If you're at 180, I don't really care that much. But it will fit on one page. All right. This is the most important set of words you're going to write for this project. Because similar to assignment 1 about presentations, what makes them interesting or boring is the same as the thesis. If you write a poor thesis, I will not want to read and therefore assess your project. You have to make sure your thesis is engaging, that it's interesting, that it's well written, so that people will want to read your report. It's an opportunity to hook people into your report. So it's very, very important. You need to make sure your spelling is good. You need to make sure your grammar is as correct as you can. And you need to make sure it's on point. So I'm going to give you some hints with it, how the thesis, how I would have it broken down. My background, again, kind of an engineering field, so it's going to be more of a technical thesis structure, but what I have found is it's fairly generic in terms of what people are looking for. They maybe call it different things. So here's the components to a thesis. The first 2 or 3 sentences are on the background or scope of the topic. This comes from, okay, your background research assignment. So in the background research assignment, remember that you researched 4 or 5 articles and then you summarized them. Well, now you have the daunting task of taking what relates to the topic that you're looking at, and you need to take that summary and crunch it down to 2 or 3 sentences that engage me and make me want to continue to read. So if it's a controversial topic, you have a little bit more of an advantage. If it is something that is kind of a quirky of interest topic, again, these 2 or 3 sentences is what you need to draw the people in. Okay, so it's a summary of your assignment to the background research. You've done the research already. Don't reinvent these 2 or 3 sentences. You go back to your background research. You look at what was appealing, what kind of shaped the direction you went with the mind map, and you use those summaries to help create or construct your own initial opening to your thesis. Next, after you've got that done, you're going to have 1 or 2 sentences narrowing the focus, telling the reader specifically what you're going to concentrate upon. So you've already done this. If you look at your mind map, you'll find that the branches sort of indicate what you want to focus on. So for example, I'm just going to create a new page for myself here. Okay, so you'll have your central topic here. And what you're going to find is you'll have a branch here, and you'll have a branch here maybe, branch here, and then all of a sudden you've got this branch over here that goes like this, 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 and this, and this. And you got this branch that seems to go on, and all of a sudden you realize, hey, here's my topic, here's my summary from my background research. So that's assignment 2, background research. Okay, so that's what you're speaking to. So that's assignment number 2. All right, all of a sudden you have this pathway that continues on and has all these branches on it. So to me, when I look at this, when people show me their mind maps, I'm like, this is where you want to focus. So this main pathway here, these major topics that are kind of leading you, this is where that next 1 to 2 sentences come from. Okay, this is your focus. All right. All of these outliers that stem off from that, I'm running out of cool colors to use here. Go back to black. These should have been your variables. Or at least some of them should have been your variables. All right. So when you're doing your thesis, this is where that topic is. So your 2 to 3 summary sentences should reflect on that. And then your next 1 to 2 sentences should be this main corridor, and you might have 2 branches, and there's no problem with that. Those next 1 to 2 sentences should be that corridor, and those branches are what are going to help you hone or fine-tune your thesis to tell the reader what you're focusing on. Okay? That's why that mind map is so important. Finally, I want one concise sentence at the end of your thesis, and it's going to tell the reader what you hope to achieve. Okay? And this final sentence will say, and I don't really expect creativity here. It will say, this study will investigate, or this research project will investigate the correlation between musical ability and academic ability. Or this study will investigate the dependency of teenage students and their cell phones. So it gives me an idea. I know this is what the questions are going to be revolving around. I know that at the end you're going to draw a conclusion about this particular topic. So this is setting us up for, okay, what am I looking at? Okay, what am I looking at? So that's what I want. That's the structure that we're going to have here. Now, the 2 to 3, the 1 to 2, the only thing that's carved in stone here is the one final sentence. I don't want this to be a run-on paragraph. I want this to be one concise sentence. These ones up here, 2 to 3, 1 to 2, you know what? Again, I'm not going to sit there counting words on you. If you need 4 sentences to do the first part and 3 to do the second, I'm not going to penalize you. It's just a rule of thumb here. It's just a guideline. Okay? It's just that one final sentence that's very, very important. Okay? And again, that mind map, please have it out. That's what you should be looking at when you're developing and working on your project. So here's the final, or here's phase 4. Following is a paper submission. So I want this handed in on paper. I want 2 copies of your thesis, each corrected by another classmate. So you're going to print off 2 copies of your thesis. You're going to give 2 copies to people in the class, and they are going to provide commentary or suggestions for improvement. The classmates will be assessed on their feedback. So if I have someone that says, this is wonderful and perfect, they're not very useful to you, and they're not going to receive a very good mark because, I'll be honest, even for myself who's completed university, there's no way that I can write a thesis and can give it to someone and not get feedback. Okay, no one is that good where no feedback is available, even if it's small feedback. Now, for people that are going to be assessing it, don't be nitpicky in terms of, oh, this should be 2 sentences instead of 1. I'm looking for, does it hook you in? Okay, and I will be providing a rubric. All right, so I will give you rubric provided. All right, so I want those two copies handed in with the feedback, suggestions, and the rubrics all included. So you just need to put your name on that. Electronic submission, like the rest of them. I want a final copy of your thesis, which incorporates your 2 classmates and my feedback, because I'll be helping you throughout. I'm not going to leave you hung out, and that's what will be assessed for your mark. Okay, so you're not going to be able to do part 2 until part 1 is completed and back in your hands. And what I want to see is the incorporation of that feedback in there. So your thesis that you handed in part 1 that's been corrected will look different than your final copy. And I would just want to see how you handle and how you incorporate the feedback. Okay, so that's it. Seems simple, but this will be probably one of the more frustrating assignments because the constraints are there, and now you're doing a lot of summarizing and crunching it down into something that makes sense, that gives you flow, that interests the reader. So, need any further help with this? Let me know. Classmates should be supportive in this, and like I said, the feedback, you can't take the feedback personally. It's something that they should be doing to make it better for you. People who are doing the assessing, remember, you are being graded on that. So I'm looking for effective feedback, and we'll be talking about that more in class as we go. All right, good luck with the assignment, and we'll see you in class.